There's one Straw Hat who might already know how One Piece ends. Not Luffy, not Zoro, not even Vegapunk. Robin. Because unlike the rest of the crew, Nico Robin isn't chasing the future blindly. She's chasing the past. A past the world government has spent centuries trying to erase. A past so dangerous that an entire island was destroyed just to silence the people studying it. And Robin survived. For years, fans have seen Robin as the quiet, intelligent archaeologist of the Straw Hats. But what if there's more to her silence than personality? What if the reason Robin rarely reacts with shock to the world's biggest mysteries is because she already understands where all of this is leading? Think about it. Robin can read the Poneglyphs. She has uncovered secrets no one else alive can fully understand. She has stood in front of information that could destroy the world government itself, and yet she almost never tells the crew everything she learns. Why? What if Robin already knows pieces of the ending? And what if the reason she keeps quiet is because the truth is far more terrifying than anyone realizes? Because the deeper you look into Robin's role in One Piece, the more it feels like she isn't just discovering the story with the Straw Hats. She's slowly confirming a truth she may have understood for a very long time. From the moment Nico Robin was introduced into the story, she felt different from every other Straw Hat. Most members of the crew carry loud dreams and explosive personalities, but Robin always carried something heavier: knowledge. While others searched for adventure, Robin searched for truth. And in the world of One Piece, truth is one of the most dangerous things a person can possess. Robin's childhood alone proves that. She grew up on Ohara, an island dedicated entirely to studying history. But this wasn't ordinary history. The scholars of Ohara were investigating the Void Century, a period erased so completely that even researching it became a crime punishable by death. The world government didn't just ban the knowledge, they feared it, enough to erase an entire island from existence, and that changes how we should view Robin's role in the story. Because Robin didn't just inherit curiosity from Ohara, she inherited forbidden knowledge. Even as a child, she was surrounded by scholars who understood pieces of a truth the world was never supposed to uncover. A truth important enough for the government to commit mass murder just to contain it. Now think about what that means. Robin has spent her entire life studying fragments of a hidden story. Every poneglyph she reads adds another piece to the puzzle. Every ancient ruin reveals more about the world before the current era existed. And unlike the audience, Robin doesn't forget those details after each arc ends. She carries all of it with her constantly, which means Robin's understanding of the One Piece world is fundamentally different from everyone else's. She doesn't see isolated mysteries, she sees connections. And the terrifying possibility is that those connections may already point toward an ending she's too afraid or too careful to fully reveal. The poneglyphs are often treated like pieces of a treasure map, clues leading toward Laughtale and the One Piece itself. But that interpretation might actually be too small. Because the more we learn about the ancient stones, the clearer it becomes that they aren't just directions. They are records, messages left behind by people who knew the world was about to change forever. And Robin is one of the only people alive capable of reading them. That alone makes her one of the most dangerous people in existence. Not because she's physically powerful, but because she has access to information no one else can fully understand. Every time Robin reads a poneglyph, she gains insight into a hidden history that has been carefully buried for centuries. But here's the unsettling part. Robin rarely tells the crew everything she learns. Yes, she shares certain details when necessary, but there are many moments where Robin reacts internally instead of openly. She processes information quietly. She keeps things to herself. And while some of that can be explained by her personality, it also creates suspicion. Because what if the things she learns are too dangerous to say out loud? Imagine carrying information that could completely change how your friends see the world. Information so massive that revealing it too early could destroy hope, create fear, or even put targets on the crew before they're ready. Robin understands something the others don't. Knowledge has consequences. That's why her silence matters, because silence can be protection. And if Robin has already pieced together major parts of the Void Century, then she may already understand truths that the Straw Hats aren't emotionally prepared to hear yet. What if she already knows why Joy Boy failed? What if she already understands the true purpose of the ancient weapons? What if she knows what the D really means? And what if all those answers point toward a future so catastrophic that even Robin hesitates to say it aloud? That possibility changes every quiet expression Robin has ever made, because suddenly her silence doesn't feel passive anymore. It feels intentional. Most people in One Piece see the world government as corrupt. Robin sees something worse. She sees fear, because governments don't erase history unless that history threatens their survival. And the world government has spent over 800 years controlling information with absolute desperation. Entire nations have been destroyed, scholars murdered, knowledge erased, all to keep the Void Century buried. Robin has witnessed this firsthand since childhood, which means she understands something the rest of the Straw Hats don't fully grasp yet. The government's greatest weapon isn't military power, it's narrative control. The world government decides what people are allowed to know. It shapes history, hides truths, and labels anyone seeking answers as criminals. Robin herself was called a demon as a child simply because she could read forbidden text. Now ask yourself this: what kind of truth requires that level of suppression? It can't just be embarrassing history. It has to be something capable of destabilizing the entire structure of the world itself, and Robin knows that. That's why she rarely reacts emotionally to major revelations anymore. While others are shocked, Robin often looks unsurprised, thoughtful, almost as if each new discovery is simply confirming suspicions she already had. Because the more pieces she uncovers, the more likely it becomes that Robin already sees the shape of the final truth. And if she does, then she may also understand something terrifying. The moment that truth becomes public, the world itself could descend into chaos. One of the most tragic aspects of Robin's character is how isolated her knowledge makes her. The rest of the Straw Hats carry dreams that push them forward, but Robin carries history, and history is heavy. Imagine spending your entire life uncovering truths no one else can understand. Imagine slowly realizing that the world around you is built on lies, and knowing that exposing those lies could destroy countless lives. That kind of knowledge changes a person, and you can already see that weight in Robin. Unlike other Straw Hats, Robin rarely acts impulsively. She observes, she listens, she thinks before she speaks. That calmness isn't just maturity, it's survival. Robin learned long ago that knowledge can get people killed. That's why her relationship with the crew is so important. For the first time in her life, Robin found people who wanted her alive, not for what she knew but for who she was. But even then, there's a subtle emotional distance that never completely disappears. Because how do you fully open up to people when you might already know truths that could shatter their world? What if Robin already suspects that the final war is inevitable? What if she already understands that finding the One Piece won't just lead to celebration, but to catastrophe? Because every clue in the story points toward massive upheaval. The ancient weapons, the Void Century, Joy Boy, the fall of kingdoms. These aren't isolated mysteries. They are pieces of an approaching collision. And Robin may already see it coming. Which means every smile she gives the crew carries hidden sadness behind it, because she may already know the cost of the truth they're chasing. Everyone assumes Laughtale is the place where all the answers finally come together. But what if Robin already understands more about it than we realize? Because Roger's crew didn't just find treasure there. They learned the truth of the world, and whatever they discovered was powerful enough to make Roger laugh, but also powerful enough that he realized he was too early. Now think about Robin's role in all of this. She is the key to reaching Laughtale. Without her ability to read the road poneglyphs, the Straw Hats can't complete the journey. But that also means Robin is uniquely positioned to understand the path before anyone else does. Every island, every ancient message, every hidden clue. She's connecting them all. And if those clues are beginning to form a complete picture in her mind, then Robin may already suspect what awaits at the end of the journey. Maybe not every detail, but enough to understand the direction. Enough to realize why the government fears Laughtale so much. Enough to understand why Roger couldn't act, and maybe enough to know that when Luffy finally reaches that island, the world will never recover from what comes next. Because finding the One Piece isn't just the end of an adventure, it's the beginning of a global collapse, a truth powerful enough to destroy the current era entirely, and Robin may already know that. What makes Robin so fascinating is that despite everything she knows, she still smiles, she still travels with the crew, she still laughs during quiet moments and believes in Luffy completely. And that might be the strongest evidence that she understands the ending more than anyone else, because Robin has seen darkness her entire life. She has witnessed genocide, betrayal, and the destruction of truth itself. If all she saw ahead was despair, she wouldn't continue forward with such calm acceptance, which suggests something important. Whatever Robin knows, she still believes in Luffy. That means the truth of the world may be terrifying, but Robin likely believes Luffy is the one person capable of confronting it without being consumed by it. Because Luffy represents something unique in the story: freedom. Not political freedom, not military freedom, existential freedom. The ability to break systems that control people's lives. And Robin may understand that the world doesn't just need someone strong enough to uncover the truth, it needs someone strong enough to survive it. That's why she follows him so faithfully. Not because she's blindly loyal, but because she may already understand the role he's destined to play. Which makes Robin's silence even more emotional, because she isn't hiding the truth out of selfishness. She's waiting for the right moment, waiting for the world and the crew to be ready. Now we arrive at the terrifying possibility at the center of this entire theory. What if Robin already knows enough to predict how One Piece ends? Not every exact detail, but the shape of it, the inevitable direction the story is moving toward. A final war, the collapse of the world government, the return of truths buried for centuries, the destruction of the old world to make way for something new. Because all the clues point there, and Robin sees those clues more clearly than anyone. She understands the ancient kingdoms, the purpose of the Poneglyphs, the fear surrounding Joy Boy, and the desperation of the government to keep history buried. She may already realize that the world is heading toward a massive reckoning, and imagine the burden of carrying that knowledge while traveling beside people who are still chasing dreams so innocently. Imagine watching Luffy laugh and fight freely while quietly understanding the storm waiting at the end of the journey. That would explain Robin's silence perfectly, not because she doesn't trust the crew, but because some truths change people forever the moment they hear them, and maybe Robin wants them to keep smiling a little longer before everything changes, because once the truth is finally revealed, there's no going back. So now the question isn't whether Robin knows more than she says, it's how much she already understands, because the deeper you look into her role in the story, the harder it becomes to believe she's just discovering these mysteries alongside everyone else. Robin isn't simply collecting clues anymore. She's assembling a hidden history, a history that may already reveal how the story ends. And if that's true, then every quiet expression, every moment of silence, every thoughtful reaction from Robin suddenly feels different, not mysterious, but heartbreaking, because she may already know that the journey the Straw Hats are on won't just change the world, it will destroy the old one completely, and she's carrying that truth alone,